what is it going to be like? Sit down and have that conversation around it. Okay, how are we going to ensure that the family is growing spiritually, or how are we going to ensure that we are all, or our family altar is on fire for God, and our family altar doesn't suffer? Because trust me, in marriage, it is very, very possible that. Hi guys, welcome back to another video from Real Talk with Becca. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back, for always coming back. And for my new subscribers, thank you for joining the family. Please do not forget to turn on your post notification bell and subscribe if you have not yet. In this video, I'm going to be talking about, three very important discussion you should have with your partner before you go into marriage. And this is not gender based. Anybody can initiate these conversations, but just make sure that you have it before you go into marriage. Trust me, it is very, very important. First, and these three discussions that I'm bringing about, of course, there are so many questions that you and your partner should talk about. Or there are so many conversations that you and your partner should have before going into marriage. There's so many questions you can ask, so many conversations to have. But then these three questions or discussions are not so common, and it is not something you just come about in any video. Because these three conversations are birthed by, through my relationship with my husband, like almost 2 years in marriage now, and these are the three things that I've seen that we had to sit down and talk about, and we had to even seek counsel on. So these three conversations, trust me, you want to have it before you go into marriage with your partner. And the very first discussion, or the very first question or discussion, is that what is your partner's communication style? Like, what is your partner's communication style? We the thing is, in relationship now, or in courtship, as we often tend to neglect um things like that. Like, you can be blinded by love to the extent that you feel like everything that your partner is doing is right, like the way they communicate with you is right. So you may not really pay attention to their communication style, and you may not even really ever ask, because of course, he's in love with you, you're in love with him. So anytime he wants to communicate, it's just for you to call on him and he will answer you. Even when he's very, very busy, he's going to respond to you, because you guys are in love, obviously. So you may not know what his communication style is. He may not know yours. You just know that you both are good. Of course you talk, but then, and this is not a myth. We have heard, and we are still hearing, that lack of proper communication is like a major reason, or a major issue in marriage that has brought about so many divorce. Study even showed that 67% of divorce was caused, and is still being caused, by lack of communication. So, and how is that happening? It's not as if both partners are not talking, right? It's not as if I'm not talking with my partner. I'm not talking to my wife, I'm not talking to my husband. No, that is not the case. But then the way we communicate differs, and how we expect to be communicated to differs. We may be talking, both of us may be talking, but somebody may not. That may not be somebody's strong point of communication. Like, it may not be a strong way or strong style of communication. So you need to know what is your husband's communication style, or your husband's to be, what is your wife to be's communication style. Because, or you may not have the full knowledge, or you may not have the full understanding of their communication style, and they may not even know. Your husband to be may not know that this is my communication style. Your wife to be may not know that this is our communication style. But then just try to have a conversation around that, so that you have, at least you have a sense of it, that, oh, I think, and it may be like an assignment actually for you both, having brought up that topic to your partner, and you both go and search yourself and come back with an answer that, oh, I think this is my communication style. I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying, but then I'm going to paint a scenario of myself and my husband. Like, I know that I am the type that, if I want to talk about something, if I want to have a discussion or conversation about something, I want it now. The way he's doing me, I want it that moment. But then my husband is not that type of person. Of course, he talks. He even talks more than me. But then conversations can always wait. he is not a spontaneous person that like that. So if I want to have a conversation with him, he always prefer that, okay, let's get home, or let's schedule a time, or let's have it when everything is settled, or let's have it at this time. And to understand each other better, and to understand each other's perspective better, it is better that we schedule a time for it. So timing is also important in communication. Like, what is your partner's communication style? And see, are they the type like my husband that always want to have the best of time to talk about that issue? Then you may have to work on your timing. The time you are bringing that conversation may not be the best to talk about it, and your partner may just be like, oh, let's just wait and everything, so that will not cause a problem or something. So communication style and timing is the very first conversation you want to make sure, you want to be sure you have with your partner before you go into that marriage. Okay, so the second one is going to be and this one I'm going to be talking about has to do with childbearing. Of course, you know that then there's a lot of question about, okay, how many kids do we want to have, and how do we want to have the children? Is it immediately, or is it immediately after marriage, or for how long are we waiting? Are we waiting a year, 6 months, 2 months, and everything? That is a very common topic, or that is a very common conversation to have. But then the perspective I'm bringing, or the aspect I'm coming from, is that if you're a 9 to 5 person, you know that you're going to be doing an official job, or you may want to have the conversation around, okay, so when the children have come, like say 3 months. Of course, you know that maternity leave in every organization or official organization is 3 months, like 6 weeks before delivery and 6 weeks after delivery. But some persons, or most people, take the full 12 weeks, which is 3 months after delivery, to have enough time with the baby. So have that conversation around, okay, when the baby is 3 months, do I go back to work? Do I take the baby to crèche? Or what is going to happen? Like, is the baby going to go to crèche at 3 months, or are we going to have a nanny in the house taking care of the baby, or what is going to be the plan? For example, I have a daughter, and my daughter is currently 10 months old. But when she was 3 months old, I was to resume office already at 3 months, and then the conversation just came up that, okay, what are we going to do? So is this baby going to go to a crèche now at 3 months? So tender and tiny, and my husband said he was not going to allow this to happen. Like, he didn't want his daughter to just go to at 3 months. The 3 months old baby is still very, very fragile and tender. That's just too young. So he didn't want it. And I wanted to resume work, right? But on the second thought, I also didn't want to just let her go like that. At 3 months, she was just so fragile to put in daycare or in crèche. So it was now becoming, so what do we do? What are we going to do? I'm just so thankful for the kind of employer that I have. He allowed me to first resume my work from home. He allowed me to just resume work from home and start, and that went on for about another 3 months until I finally resumed to office at 6 or 7 months. To have that conversation, okay, what are we going to do when this baby, if you're actually into 9 to 5 job, like I said, like, is there going to be a crèche option? Is it a crèche option, or is it a nanny option? Is it grandma option? What is it? Let's have it now and let's settle it. Of course, I know that so many things can actually change in marriage. Even if you have had this conversation or this discussion with your partner before marrying, so many things can change, but then it is going to help you guys to know, oh, we actually discussed about this, and did we have on it, or what go ahead did we have on it. So it's going to help you to just know how to navigate things. Even when things are changing, you know that you and your partner have once discussed about this, and then you know what to do on it. Even if that is not what you're going to do, at least it's going to be it's not going to be so hard to know how to move from that. So the third question, or the third conversation you should have with your partner before going into a marriage is, what is the plan around family spiritual growth? Now, it may be the lady asking the man, or it may be the man asking the lady. And what is it going to be like? Sit down and have that conversation around it. Okay, how are we going to ensure that the family is growing spiritually? Or how are we going to ensure that we are all, or our family altar is on fire for God, and our family altar does not suffer? Because trust me, in marriage, it is very, very possible that both parties, or both partners, I mean the husband and the wife, are growing separately in their spiritual walk. It is very, 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 very easy and possible, that you're just growing individually, you're going separately. There is no family altar, there is no spiritual synergy, because the thing is, there are so many marital blessings that will not come to such a family if there is no spiritual synergy. So you want to ensure that this is going to be our plan for the family spiritual growth. Is it that we are going to be praying once a week, or depending on your schedule, because you may not be keeping the same schedule as your husband, you may not be keeping the same schedule as your wife. So you need to know what works for both. In my own house, what we do currently is every Saturday we make sure that we come together and pray as a family, because we don't keep the same schedule. It may be a difficult thing to actually keep up with your family, or to keep up that aspect of life with your family. So you want to have a conversation around that as well, that what is going to be the plan. Like, is it one day in a week that is going to work for us? Then let's keep to it. How are we going to be doing it? Are we going to be attending concert? What are we going to be doing? How are we going to ensure family spiritual growth? So please have this conversation with your partner. And with that few points of mine, I think that I've come to the end of the discussion for today. So guys, I want you to put in the comment section, what other things do you feel like people don't get to talk about often, or what other topics do you think that we don't get to see around, we don't get to hear of, that intending couples should talk about before they go into marriage? Please drop your suggestions in the comment section below, and be sure that people who need it are going to read it and are going to be blessed by it. Thank you so much for joining my talk today, and I'm going to see you guys in my next video. But before you go, yes, hold on, are you subscribed yet? Is your post notification on? Have you given this video a thumbs up? And I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye.